Hello virtual pilots, I'm Andre Celesti, and tonight we are going to talk about the new Moza force feedback AB9 base, a product that is preparing to make its way on the market of force feedback devices in the flight sim world. Moza chose our channel to take part in the testing program of this new device, share our thoughts, provide feedback, and improve the community experience once they are ready for release. And you can understand how excited we are to be part of such an important process, testing this device and experiencing a new dimension in DCS World, something that will revolutionize the way we fly in flight sims. Now, the concept of force feedback devices is not new. We talked about it before in one of our previous podcasts with members of our community that the other branch of simulation, the racing one, already has this technology for a long time. And as a matter of fact, Moza is leading the market with their amazing wheelbases, pedals, and other products that are already established in the race sim genre. So how come flight sim products took so much time to get here? Well, I won't go too deep into it, but it seems that there was a company that owned the patent for this technology when it comes to flight sims. Luckily, not too long ago, those patents expired, making the future of force feedback very bright for all the big names on the market and newcomers as well. And with that being said, Moza, which had our channel already registered in their affiliation program before their step into the flight sims, got to us their first force feedback AB9 base. A dual servo motor setup that promises to deliver a strong punch in dynamic feedback, precision, and realistic effect on taxi, takeoff, flying, landing, and much more. And yes, I encountered all of the above in my testing until so far, including the punch. The package came in a manual and the Moza base in a cloth cover. It was well packed to withstand shock and rough handling. The base has a power supply that comes attached with a decent length cable and the usual USB connector that goes to your computer. There are 4 connections ready to be used, most likely by the future Moza flight products like pedals and even a throttle. Nice! The design is new from everything I've seen on the market as of today, for flight sim equipment, of course. The inner elements are covered in a black metal jacket of aluminum alloy, making the base quite heavy. Now, the biggest question was, does it work with my Thrustmaster Warthog stick? You can rest assured it does, quite very well, and it also supports the Viper stick, the FA-18 Hornet, and the Virpil Mongoose 5cm2 grip. That's all the official info I got for now. When it comes to mounting, the base has multiple screws and a design that allows you to mount it on most available supports these days. Personally, I managed to place it on my chair in about 24 hours of work, give or take. As my friends told me, well, you are a musician, so must be a skill issue. Never mind. I must confirm that Moza is working on a desk mount, still getting tweaked for a proper use though, but if you ask me, I would advise against mounting this to your desk, due to structural reasons and, well, come on, it's a force feedback base. If you get something like this, get ready for some strong forces and, let's face it, we are flying military jets and airliners, not RC choppers and paper planes. Thank you. And so I've installed the Moza Cockpit app, and many questions started to be answered from what I found in their multiple iteration of this piece of software. You see, the base itself is a quality product. I wasn't expecting anything less from Moza due to the fact they are already a well-known racing sim brand. But the product will only shine as much as the app allows it to. The software is the key to success here. Now I have the base for 3 weeks and a bit now, and I already tested more than 4 apps and multiple firmwares for it. Moza is in touch with me on a daily basis, and this is a good thing, as we can provide ample information from me and my team here at How I Play. Bit by bit in my testing, the app evolved, from basic forced adjustments and a few profiles to multiple adjustments that are now available for all types of aircraft you will encounter in the sim. But please note that all features that I will showcase in this video are subject to change, as the app is getting tweaked. So let's start from the beginning. Installation is easy, you get the program and apply a firmware, and from there you select where your games are and move on to the tweaking side. In the home page, you get to see the general information on what products you have connected. The AB9 base is listed with the firmware as well as the MH16 stick, which in my case is just the Trustmaster Warthog stick. But it comes with the same firmware, it makes sense. Moving to the base options, we have 4 types of main adjustments options up on the top. Basic settings that contain the preset tab, one of the most requested features within the community. These presets are bound to a sim title like DCS, Star Citizen, X-Plane, and MSFS for now. If we click on DCS, we get to see all the available default presets for each module. This is perfect, as you will see later that this feature doesn't just stop here. As I just said before, it's just a default profile provided by Moza in the app from where your journey just begins. Once you tweak your preferences with each module, you can save your own preset and export it as a file. This will be the beginning of shared tweaks by the community for this particular base. Moza did it right here, and I sure hope other manufacturers take note. But let's move on. In the center tab, still part of the basic settings thread, we got a set of options ready to be tweaked for your convenience that apply to each profile. Right at the top, we currently have the force feedback mode selection, where you can choose a direct input, meaning DCS chooses the forces that are being applied, a telemetry mode, where the app from Moza chooses the forces, or the integrated mode, where both DCS and the Moza app inputs are taken into consideration. And then you got all tweaking in regards of forces that are being applied and at which intensity. On the right, we have an auto-calibration much needed in certain situations to calibrate the base and get it ready for your profiles, depending on what you fly that day. Just make sure you stand out of the way when it does the auto-calibration. You don't want to get punched or something. Just saying. On the lower right corner, the Moza app has a new preset button that allows you to save a new preset for all supported games. Moving on, next thread is the telemetry setting. This is where you choose a large set of options based on what you fly, meaning props, jets, or helicopters. Cool, isn't it?
But wait, then why no UFOs?
You mean spaceships?
Yeah, spaceships.
I think you can use jets for that one.
Okay, if you say so.
Also, keep in mind that these options are based on the profiles you select and modules are switched on or off by default. You will spend quite some time tweaking each of these for your personal taste, and I am sure that in the future, many actual pilots of certain aircrafts will publish their settings to the community. But that's not all. On the left-hand column, you have a big list of general effects, from stall buffeting effects, weapon releases, flares, guns, to damage effects, canopy operations, flaps, gear, everything that crosses your mind that could influence how the module would feel when flying and on the ground. The next 2 tabs are dedicated for further tuning of the X, Y, and Z axis, and even a force setting that can be tuned in the most precise way. There are so many effects that you will need a lot of time to discover them. And for me, even after a few weeks of testing this unit, some effects still catch me by surprise. That's why I say with confidence that once you get to fly with this base, there is no going back. And let's face it, why would you go back to a blind experience based on springs and cams? The world of force feedback is here, and it's here to stay. And so, how does it feel? From a helicopter's rotor motion to the afterburner kicking in or out, the experience is unique for each module. The beauty is in the details. You may have heard me mention in my previous videos how, for example, when I lower spoilers or the Chinook's ramp, I get a certain vibration that lasts as long as the surfaces are traveling. Then, when you raise your gear, you get the expected effect, but in some cases, I even feel certain bumps that could be the hydraulics setting in position. At least, this is what my team agreed upon during our testing. And when you fire a gun, you can opt to have a vibration effect, strong, not too strong, it's up to you. Same goes for weapon release. But wait, there is more. Air movement also is depicted, When moving the stick, you feel the friction and how the surfaces react in each condition. Then you got the Viper, which has in real life a special type of joystick at work in the world of military jets. It relies on hand pressure on the side stick controller that sends electrical signals to actuators of flight control surfaces such as ailerons and rudder. Being a fly-by-wire jet is one thing, but the Viper has a joystick that basically doesn't move, as the input values are determined by the amount of force acting on the stick. And so, when you switch to the Viper with the Moza base, you are controlling a Viper, meaning your pressure on the stick dictates everything. It's something else, and trust me, you need a bit of adjustment when you fly the Viper now. Let's talk about trimming, and I will be as blunt as I can be. Yes, it travels when you trim, meaning once you trim your pitch, the stick moves for certain modules. Moza does it. But as we all know, when we talk about trim, we talk about helicopters. And yes, it sticks. But does it lose the tension? Yes, it does. If you want it loose, you got it loose. If you want it just a bit centered or rough, you can make it that way as well. Once you tick the correct options, even in DCS, it will pick up the fact that you are using a force feedback device and the trim works as intended. The Apache, the Hind, the Mi-8, the Huey all take advantage of this base, and it's a joy to fly. But compared with other previous attempts at the force feedback, it's not just a loose stick that travels and sticks to the trim. It tells you if you are about to go into VRS, if you are putting too much turn force in your pedals, or if you overspeed. This is the base to go if you are serious about flying a jet, warbird, or helicopter in DCS World. And speaking of warbirds, I took most of them out for a spin, and now I need to practice again, as it's not as easy as it was before. The forces are real. I stalled the Mustang and I couldn't bring it back, as the stick was too heavy. I couldn't pull it. Natasha says I need to go more to the gym. Gym? What gym? Yeah, if you want to fly warbirds, you better train for it. Oh, and that statement stands for everything else, especially if you are a Heat Blur customer. The the Phantom will take you out from the first time you hear Jester saying, "Wheels up." You want it to be immersed? Well, here you go. Now, I know, I don't want to scare you. Everything I felt during my test can be tweaked. I can't stress this enough. It's all in your hands. So, alright, should you get one? Do birds fly high? You know what I mean? I think it's better to say this. If you choose not to get one now, due to the fact that you still have your brand new conventional joystick, or you are just waiting for more products to come out, you will still eventually, as time goes by, find yourself in a position of buying a force feedback base. And when you will pull the trigger on such a base, you will step in a brand new world filled with so much potential based on what you fly in your favorite flight sim. I leave the product to speak for itself, as the new Moza AB9 base makes a clear and true statement. The force feedback technology is finally here for flight sims. And I do recommend you get ready, as the era of old joystick bases is about to end. So if you are about to get the Moza AB9 base, the price at this time is about 600 euros. It is still in the pre-order phase, and if you do buy one, make sure to use our link so they do know who got you there. It really helps our channel a lot. Keep in mind that Moza will also roll out the recent announced MA3X side stick and MH16 flight stick, and the Z-axis module that extends your stick with a 96mm length to enhance the realism and professional feel. Nice! And so we say a big thank you to mozaflight for sending this base to us. It has become my daily device for flight sims, and even if Moza will ask for it back, I won't give it.
But Andrei, you may need...
No, it's mine. You can't have it back.
Sorry, we may just have to go to commercials or something. Lost it, cuckoo. Thank you all for watching. Many thanks to our patrons for their continued support. And remember to subscribe to keep in touch with all the latest propaganda of your favorite simulators and games. I am Petrovich, reminding you to fly safe. And I'll see you next time.
Natasha! Don't get... No!